Drop the Balls podcast with Mark Davis, Chris Gemeinhart, Luke Rule, and Nick the Doc Skirkowitz. Good evening. It is Thursday, July 25th, 2024. I'm Mark Davis, and I have two guys with me tonight, as you know them as Luke Rule and Nick the Doc Skirkowitz. And we're doing something that we have not done in a very long time. That's have two episodes in 1 week. It's been since the football season, and something that we're going to have to start getting used to, because when football season rolls around, we have two episodes probably a week, and maybe even three, depends on if we have time for it or not. But tonight's another fantasy football episode, because we're going to start ramping up that with the receivers and running backs tonight. We might do some rookies coming up in a couple weeks, maybe some steals, things like that, individual episodes for that. But before we do anything, Luke Rule, our defending champion, how are you doing tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I'm doing good. Getting ready to set up, doing my research go for the two-peat, kind of like Kansas City did. I think I'm going to try to run the two-peat this season.
We all got dreams.
Well,
I did you a favor. I got you the second pick, so I got you the best receiver, whatever receiver you want. He's there for you.
Yeah, it depends on which one signs contracts and which ones don't.
It seems like Tyreek's there, so it only seems like CeeDee Lamb is not there. So we always go Tyreek.
JJ, dude.
No, Jamar Chase is holding in.
Oh yeah, true. That sucks because he's one of my top tiers too. So we'll talk about him. Doc, how are you doing, man? We are literally we're about 20. I'd say about 26
hours away at this point.
26 hours. 26 hours.
Yeah.
I think it's like a 10. I think I arrived like 10 something, but by the time I get my bag, it's like that's usually like a 20, 30 minute. Hopefully there's no fucking delays at airports. I heard they've been packed or the airport's been slammed with the shutdown that happened or whatever. So hoping that doesn't affect me.
Just keep me updated. I got to put the kiddos down, and then I'm going to come out and scoop you up. With that 20, 30 minutes, I'm not that far from Philly, so I'm probably going to leave the house when you tell me, hit me up as soon as the plane touches the ground, because I'm gonna leave the house then. Because it takes a little bit of time to taxi and get your shit. But no, dude, we are hours away. I've been waiting for this moment since you told me you were coming, dude. I've been prepping. The basement is not clean at all.
Cody's bathroom clean?
Not even a little bit.
Dude, tell that motherfucker.
Honestly.
They need shower shoes?
Yeah. Yeah, a hotel might be best for you, honestly. But I don't want to. I got a hose out back, dude. Fuck that. I got a hose out back. We'll make it work.
I'll just go to the master bedroom, take a bath. It's okay. I'll pee in his bathroom, poop in his bathroom, and just take a quick shower in yours. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Her mom asked to take a shower in the master bathroom, and I was like, I got a hose out back.
I'm excited. Saturday, we're getting together with the old gang. Hopefully, Cody shows up. I know he's kind of.
Oh, he will not be there. He will not be there.
Monday baseball game, and then Sunday I might meet Gage. Luke met him. I haven't met Gage yet, so I get to potentially meet Gage. But no, tonight it's time for some fantasy football. Like I said, we're 1 month away. I think our draft is August 29th, if I'm not mistaken. It's either August 20th or August 29th, whatever that Sunday is. I just got to get Sydney's schedule, Luke, and then I can finalize that when it gets a little closer.
You get schedules a week out, so.
I mean, she seems like she's home at 9 p.m. nowadays. I mean,
it depends. I mean, it's like tomorrow night she's not. She'll be working overnight tomorrow.
Depends. Tomorrow night she's not. So fuck her.
No, them overnights. That's a long night. So, but no, let's jump into it. I mean, before we jump into it, did you guys? I know Luke, you shared it. I just saw the pop back up. The fucking Raiders just gave the Chiefs some bulletin board shit, just to let them get fucking cream this year. I think a nice 2-0 sweep, probably combined by 40 points they lose by to the Chiefs this year.
That's not bad.
Well, they mocked Patrick Mahomes. They found a Kermit the Frog, Doc, and they put a wig, like his little afro on there, and a Patrick Mahomes jersey, and they're mocking him.
Look, I mean, get upset, but don't tell me it's not accurate. You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
who are we kidding? Who are we kidding?
Do you want more fuel for him to add? He's already you're already 2-10 against him.
That's fine. Earn it. At least earn the pounding that you're. If I'm gonna get bent over and raw dog, I want to at least have an excuse for it. We fired him up. We pissed blah blah blah. It
was a rookie safety. It was a rookie safety, by the way. So hopefully he's not filling in for somebody.
Brass balls in the game.
Hopefully he's not filling in for somebody. But No, but like Luke said, there's a lot of holdouts for the receivers, so that's going to be something we're going to talk about. But before we do that, let's talk about the running back position. You know, this position probably like about maybe 5-6 years ago, this was the position you were heavily drafting in the first round. You're probably getting about 5 or 6 running backs in that first round, a lot of them in the top 5. And now it seems like in 2024, the position guard has changed. That's the receiver now. Obviously, the number 1 pick is going to be Christian McCaffrey. We'll probably talk a lot about Christian McCaffrey because if he's going anything lower than 2 in your draft, you're playing with a bunch of morons. I mean, I get it. That's fine. Yeah.
You have no idea what you're doing.
If Christian McCaffrey doesn't go past, if he goes past 2, there's an issue. So, but the running back position is a very interesting one. I know we did tiers the other night with tight ends and quarterbacks, but like we're not necessarily, it doesn't have to be about tiers because there's so many running backs compared to tight ends and quarterbacks, same with receivers. But we're just going to kind of talk about when should these guys go. Like obviously Christian McCaffrey, we already know. So when should the next group of running backs go? Should they go in the first round? And if so, who are the guys you're looking at? Like, so obviously my tier, I have a tier CMC. He's a one of his kind. And then I have tier 2, I have tier 1, which would be like Bijan Robinson, Jahmyr Gibbs. I think I had ETN as well. And I also had Breece Hall. Yeah. So, and I know ETN is projecting the 20s on ESPN, but I'm super high on ETN. I've been high on ETN since he came in the league, but those are my 4. You know, I think, and I honestly think if you're looking at a running back, boys, I think you have to look at running back around picks 4 or 5 because the drop off at running back is so steep. Like I'd rather have Mike Evans, my receiver 1, than Devon Achane with my running back 1 and have, you know, Jamar Chase, whatever, for example.
I'm honestly not worried about that drop off like you're saying. I mean, Christian McCaffrey, CMC obviously going number 1, right? And you're going to get a couple receivers going after that. You know, it's going to be a few picks until that next running back is taken. But at the end of the day, you know, if you're in a 12-man league and you've got 8, 9, you know, going Breece Hall,
Going your pick 4 though. Like, that's if your pick 4, would you go running back though?
No, I wouldn't pick 4.
I mean, pick
I'd grab
4,
one of the top 3 wide receivers.
There's been some change in landscapes, right? Like JJ's obviously going to get his, but how much is he really going to stand out with JJ McCarthy? You know, so there's a lot of question marks there. But I don't think you go number 4 running back, but I definitely think first round. I mean, there's going to be more than 2 running backs taken in the first round. There's no doubt about that. But Derrick Henry, my only concern for him is the fact that he's RB2 in Buffalo. I mean, honestly, if I'm looking at CMC or Buffalo, what did I say?
You said Buffalo.
Baltimore. I meant Baltimore. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You know, honestly, and even before Derrick Henry, RB1, I mean, I'm looking at Lamar. You know, Lamar's a great RB1 option for anybody out there. But, you know, Kyron Williams, Bijan, Jahmyr Gibbs are all going to get step-ups this year. There's no doubt about that. So there's definitely going to be, you know, solid running backs going in the first round. I think it's going to be like CMC first, obviously. You're going to have a string of receivers. And then I think it's going to be, you know, 1 for 1 or 2 for 1. You know, running backs are going to start going to the board kind of quick.
So the thing, Luke, what I was going to say is, and I'll throw it to you, is if I'm pick 4 or 5, I'm pick 7. So I'm in that situation where I can get running back 2 potentially. But if I'm pick 4 or 5, let's say like, you know, obviously CMC's gone. You're probably going to get CD and Tyreek Hill off the board, right? So now you're at pick 4. Yeah, you can go Jefferson or Chase, but then you could also go Jahmyr Gibbs, whose workload is supposed to be bigger. Breece Hall, who is the number 2 running back in fantasy. You expect him to be good. You expect Breece Hall to still be good because Aaron Rodgers is going to hopefully be healthy and the box won't be loaded. He is a pass catcher. And then you could take a chance of getting Chris Olave, who was still a pretty good, I think he was a top 10 last year. Yeah, Chris Olave was number 16. But like, let's say you go get like for my tier 2 or whatever, or even like if Adams falls, for example, or Drake London, Marvin Harrison could fall, Mike Evans, Michael Pittman Jr. Would you rather have that? And then, or maybe like I said, A-Chain, or, you know, then you're stuck. Now you have 2 good receivers because now you don't want to take Devon A-Chain because you don't trust him to stay healthy. And now you got to wait till the 3rd round or 4th round to pick a running back. And now you're stuck on running back.
No, I mean, I wouldn't take A-Chain in the first round.
Well, second round, I'm saying. In the second, but I'm saying, but
the second round, yeah, maybe. But Miami's got 3 running backs over there that could all be starters at some point in the season. So like they're going to rotate running backs. It's pretty heavy. Hey, when you look at running backs, you got to look at the guy that's going to be at least 3 down back. I mean, there are not many do it that much anymore. But he's one of those like one first and second down guys, and the guys that can catch passes too, especially since we're playing a PPR league. So I like Rashid White out of Tampa. He's pretty much that every down back, catches passes.
There's a lot of inconsistency with him in the last year.
Well, so the thing with White,
with Rashad White, he's going to get those like 5 passes like a game. That's 5 points easy. And if he catches a touchdown, it adds up quick.
Yeah, PPR is a big deal.
Catchers.
Well, for you, like Rashad White is a definitely a realistic option for running back 1 because you are going receiver 2 unless Chris McCaffrey, which I don't think Chris is going to do, falls. So you are going to be stuck at that 23rd pick and 26th pick. Yeah, 23rd, 26th pick that you could go Rashad White or Isaiah Pacheco as your running back 1, or Derrick Henry. But I'm talking about, which I like that as a running back 1, I honestly do, but I don't like him as running back 1 in the first round because he can fall. His value compared to the receivers and other running backs is not the same. But what I'm thinking about is like from picks 4 to 6, like that's that swing. Like, man, like do I want to go, Ron St. Brown or Jefferson or Chase when I can go get Jahmyr Gibbs? I can go get Breece Hall. I mean, Bijan's supposed to have a heavier workload. It's already been said by Zach Robinson, the coordinator. So would you rather have that, like the point differential? Because I think Mike Evans is still a solid 1. Baker's going to throw him the pill. I mean, he's a touchdown machine. He's a 1,000-yard receiver. Maybe not as many catches as he used to be, but he's still a receiver 1. I mean, Mike Evans last year was literally the 7th receiver in fantasy. That's my thing. It's like it's just like it's like those middle picks.
Depends on how the picks before you go. I think it'd be CMC number 1, then probably 3 receivers go back to back to back after that. Then you're in that decision between like Bijan or Breece Hall or Jefferson and Chase, depending on which receiver is still available. So that's a tough pick to pick between because Breece Hall, like he's already had an ACL injury, and Bijan
early though.
Yeah, but
still there.
Yeah, then if Aaron Rodgers gets hurt,
tough long term.
They're just going to stack the box on him. So, Breece Hall's a little more a risky pick. Bijan's probably a pretty safe pick, or Jonathan Taylor. They got rid of Moss, so Jonathan Taylor's going to be one of these top tier.
JT's in my tier 2 just because of his. He's got injury lingering his like. Yeah,
You saw when he came in after his injury. After a couple of weeks, he started to take over that role.
But then he got hurt again at the end of the. But then he got hurt at the end of the season again. So it's like
he's fresh now.
He's supposed to be fresh last year. That's what I'm saying. And Breece Hall, I'm not worried about his ACL because that was 2 seasons ago, and it didn't slow him down last year. So, I would understand that concern if he had the injury issues last year. I just don't want any of the viewers or any of us to well, you guys, I don't, because we're in the same league, but anyone that listens, I don't want them to get stuck because now they're at pick 6 and they go, Amon-Ra St. Brown, not a bad pick. Obviously, he was one of the top 5 fantasy receivers last year, but then you get back to your pick at the end of the second round, you're like, God, I don't really want A-Chain this early. I don't really want Rashad White. It's too early. Etienne fell earlier than his projected, and now you're going receiver, and now you're stuck with a running back you don't truly want because it's not, like you said, Miami's not as consistent, A-Chain and injury histories. Jalen Wright and Mostert could touch that spot too.
That's a problem you take at the running back though. Guys been dropping like flies in the running back position lately, even if it's not long term. There's been nothing but issues. You're always rolling the dice, taking a gamble. You're going off a guy, what his history is, but you run into that A-Chain, gamble every time you pick a running back, in my opinion.
Because if that's the case, then you might have. You could stock up receiver and then go running back in the 3rd round, but it's just. I don't know, man. It's just hard to pass up on because I still think that those 4 in the 1st round, like I said, Hall, Gibbs, Etienne, and Bijan are guys that are worth going anywhere from picks 4 to honestly 8 or 9. But like you said, it's what we value the most. And I just think receivers so deep that running back still kind of important. It's not the same as it used to be, but receivers deep this year. Every year now, honestly.
Passing league.
It is.
It's hard to get those solid running backs that you can count on every single week to produce, especially if you get past that first tier of running backs. It's a gamble every week if they're going to put up big numbers or not.
Because there are some good running backs, like I said, like rounds 3 and 4, you can definitely snag if you want to go your running back 1. I know James Cook finished at 12 last year, but his production got better once Joe Brady came in. So, like in the third and fourth rounds, for example, in my opinion, these are guys I would want as my running back 2, not necessarily my running back 1. Achane, Pacheco, Mixon, Walker, White, Cook, AK, and James Conner. Those are the guys I would love to have in the third or fourth round as my option 2, though, not my option 1. I mean, I wouldn't mind Cook and probably Mixon being my running back 1, but I don't want to be stuck making them my running back 1 because then my running back 2 is going to be it's going to be way weaker than that I could have had at running back 2, essentially.
Yeah, you're just hoping on a guy that gets like 1-yard touchdowns at that point.
Yeah, at that point. Or no, well, then you look at Nick Chubb to me is tier 4 because of the injury. We don't know what he's going to do. But you could. But with Nick Chubb, for example, I would want him before his projected value. His value is like in the 80s. I'm looking 60s at Nick Chubb. I'm not looking at the 80s. I'm going 2 rounds early on Nick Chubb if I can.
Nick Chubb is still early for me. I still give him credit.
But they have Aaron Jones. I put Josh Jacobs in tier 4. I'm not high on Josh Jacobs, but Harris, Najee, and Rashad White. I know, Luke, you like Zach Moss. He's in that group. Jalen Warren. Oh, no, not Rashad White.
Dynasty.
Not Rashad
I don't want
White.
to trade him because he's on the Bengals now.
Who?
Moss.
Yeah, but I mean, he's a solid option. I mean, he kind of his production did dip a little bit at the end of the second half of the season.
Well, he'll be like the lead role pretty much in Cincinnati, though, I think.
He's definitely RB1. I mean, I know they have Chase Brown, and Chase Brown had a couple good games last year. Now, I think he's going to a second year from Illinois. So, I mean, it's definitely an option there. I mean, I just don't. The running back's just so tough because you just don't want to. In my opinion, you just don't want to be stuck like with a shit running back group, and then you're really screwed if something happens to one in that situation.
Yeah, fucking ETN did it for me last season. So
yeah, I mean,
he kept me rolling. My top tier wide receiver was down. Kept me rolling.
Yeah, well, because you got Jefferson with pick 1. And I'm assuming you got TTN with either the last pick of the second round or the second pick or the first pick of the third round. He's on your back-to-back. So, I mean, you obviously got very fortunate that you had Jefferson, who still finished as a
he did well, but
he was not top 20 last year. But
no, he missed quite a few games.
Yeah, I think he missed 6 games, something like that.
Yeah, damn near half the season.
I mean, Chase missed a couple games too, but he finished top 11. But yeah, I just feel like I don't know, running back position is tough, man. Like I said, because you don't want to get in that tier 4 group where it's a touchdown or bust game for that player. If they get a touchdown, and 40, 50 yards, and bam, there you go. That's 11 points as your second running back. But I just don't want you to be stuck with that situation. I mean, what's the proper way that you guys would stock a running back group though? When it comes to if you guys had the ideal situation kind of falling your way, how would you figure out the depth? How many running backs would you carry? Kind of what rounds are you trying to pluck them from?
I mean, honestly, for me it depends on the round and the talent that's available, right? If I start dropping off into a tier 3, tier 4, if running backs all of a sudden go top to bottom round 1 and 2, and there's nothing available, I'm going to bite the bullet and kind of like where I'm at with my QB situation in Dynasty, right? I got Dak Prescott to open, and thank God the year he had last year, but my backup was Derek Carr. That's nothing to this is where I'm at. Looking at what's available and what I can get, hey, we're just gonna hope for the best at quarterback. We're gonna get them late, and that's what it is. And if that's what you got to do at running back, then what I would hope as a fantasy owner that you're making the right moves in other areas to make up for that, right? If running backs go top to bottom rounds 1 and 2, except for you, then you took Justin Jefferson or Tyreek Hill, wide receivers that are going to carry you. If you're going to lose out in running back because you only got one, well, unless you're playing with 2, otherwise your flex, you can run receiver in your flex and still get the points. You can still make up for it.
Are there any running backs, Luke, that you're kind of avoiding this year? Any the big names, maybe the top, maybe 3-4 tiers. Top 20 running backs.
Williams from the Rams. I'd probably stay away from him this season. They just got what's his face?
Blake Corum,
rookie. Yeah, Blake Corum over there, and apparently he's looking pretty good. So I think Blake Corum's going to take a big part of Karen Williams' snaps. I think at some point. I'd probably stay away from. I'm still staying from Achane.
I mean, if he's just running back two, fine.
H ain't out. I'd stay away from because the stable of running backs they have, and they're all fast. Like they're all very similar running backs. I get it. It's probably Mostert's probably last couple seasons, but he's like, isn't Mostert still like the number one running back?
Well, Mostert had that big fancy year. He led the league in touchdowns.
Huge year. HN did good, but I think he was injured for a few games. Last
HN was out for a few games. Yeah, he got hurt he got hurt early.
Then they just drafted Jalen Wright out of Tennessee.
I think third rounder.
Yeah,
he's your third or fourth.
Did some research on him. Found out he's a stud. So
yeah, you were like, what? You were like, because there's on the combine. You're like, you were saying something about him. I was like, dude, he was the fucking starting running back for Tennessee the last couple of years, man.
They didn't watch too many Vols games.
You picked them. That's what you picked them to go to the playoffs. I'm like,
yeah, well, they started fucking losing, so I stopped watching them. Not a fan of Vols, but
I'm not. I said Josh Jacobs, man. I'm telling you, I want to stay away from him too. I know that
I already said it. I'm staying away from. He was a Raider. I mean, now he's a Green Bay. I don't. Green Bay running backs, I'd probably stay away from too.
They drafted a running back as well. The kid from USC, Marshawn Lloyd.
They got somebody else too.
AJ Dillon's still there, I think.
Yeah, AJ Dillon. Yeah, I'd stay away from him. There's too many mouths to feed over there.
Too many.
Ramondre Stevenson, I'd probably stay away from him. I think that New England offense would be fucking terrible, and they're playing from behind a lot.
So, I think
New England, come on.
I'm not a Stevenson fan. I've not been a Stevenson fan, honestly.
I'm not a big fan of him. James Conner, I'd probably stay away from too.
See, I actually bumped him into my tier 3.
I just don't like him.
He's solid when he's there.
Yeah, when he's there, which when was the last time he played a full season?
Well, most running backs don't. Running backs are usually miss a couple games. They're due for it. I say like, I know it was key for Wade and Dynasty. The Pittsburgh Steelers running back room, I don't give a shit if it's Harris or Warren. Harris is playing on a contract here, so he's going to try and be big. But the Steelers upgraded their O-line big time, and I think that team is going to be a good running back centric team. I think that's going to open up everything else for the passing game. But I think Harris and Warren, who are a good 1-2, probably one of the better 1-2 punches in the league last year. I think it's
line up Justin Fields in the running back too.
He threw a bomb today.
Yeah, well, he's also probably be catching punts too.
He could be. He had a bomb today though to I believe it was to Van Jefferson on the sideline. No Russell Wilson.
You heard it here. He is going to take RB1. I mean, QB1. Sorry.
He only was playing because Russell wasn't there. I mean, he was there, but he was sitting out.
I'm not arguing. I'm just saying. I'm just saying he's going to get QB1.
According to Pat McAfee, is because his caps are too fucking big. That's what he said today. He said,
okay, let's relax.
I mean, Russell is pretty. He's pretty big. He's a pretty big dude for his size, and he's not some small guy.
Some of these later round running backs, there's some pretty solid ones like Tajay Spears or Tony Pollard. I mean, we don't know who's going to be RB1 really, but we saw what Tajay Spears did with Will Levis last season. Great pass catcher. I mean, solid running back.
Any rookies that like a Jonathan Brooks or something like that maybe you're, maybe worth maybe like kind of like a later pick, maybe like towards like the middle, maybe kind of like a stash and play.
I mean, Blake Corum. I mean, if Blake Corum is available late, I'd probably take him in with hopes that Kyren Williams gets hurt again.
Well, yeah, Kyren did miss a few games, but when he got back, dude, that motherfucker
went off.
Yeah, he was off. He was off all year, to be honest.
Well, you got Trey Benson, maybe.
Yeah, I feel like Connor's still that solid. That's the only thing I know he's the running back one.
He's also injury prone, so
that's true too.
I mean, sometimes you gotta pick somebody betting on injuries, and just
look at the rookies right now. I mean, it would be Brooks, and then Benson are like the top two, and then like Corum and Jalen Wright. I feel like Jalen Wright, like I would say draft if you can get him later, draft him and hold on to him. Like if you have. Depending on how many people you have on your bench, like I know we rock 6 bench players, but if you're rocking like a 7 bench league spot, which I know some of them still do, draft them, man. Just keep him there. You never know, like when someone gets hurt in Miami and he's the guy, or he has a big game and he's a key focal member of that team.
Or you can look out for these former Ravens running backs now at the LA Chargers. I mean, one of them is going to be RB1. And maybe I'd grab Gus Edwards, hoping J.K. gets hurt again. Then he'll be RB1 and he's a thumper, so he'll get you those 1 yard touchdowns too.
Yeah, Gus is a bad option. If JK's healthy, I mean, I like JK when he's healthy. It's just that's his problem. He's never healthy.
Never healthy.
He averages 5 yards to carry. That's what you want in running back.
Yeah, 101 touchdown last season for the Ravens. One.
Guy's just not good.
No, he's good when he's healthy.
He's good. He's injury prone.
I know. I'm joking. I'm joking.
He's glass.
They didn't pay him. Like he tried to hold out until the first week of preseason. Then he saw a couple of our running backs, Justice Hill, and
then he saw people where he was like, "Oh, they don't need me. They don't need me that bad."
And then he came back.
It turns out they can do this without me.
Well, it's the Ravens. I mean, I know he's seen it when he's hurt before. This team is a really good running team. I mean, they figure ways out.
Put anybody as running back. We had Dalvin Cook last season for a little bit. Justin Edwards all season. Justice Hill.
Nobody steps up. Nobody steps up to Lamar though.
I mean, he's just a different breed when it comes to the ball in his hand, his legs.
To me,
not passing with the ball in his hand. All right, let's clear that air.
Well,
he's decent at best.
He led the league in passing TDs 1 year.
He did.
2019.
Was that the oh, okay, it wasn't the COVID year. I would have
that was the when nobody else. That was the year that the Chiefs beat the Niners in the Super Bowl, but the Ravens.
That's his other MVP year.
That was the first. That was the year. That was the playoff game when the Ravens started truly scouting Derrick Henry. Like, man, we're gonna get this motherfucker one of these years.
We tried to get him before the trade deadline during last season.
Took a few years, but you finally got him.
You guys finally made it.
Eric says Derrick Henry bullied our defense. Like Harbaugh's like, yeah, I want him.
we need to get him on this side.
That might have been the game that ended Earl Thomas's career.
Oh, Earl Thomas, yeah, he was not the same after that.
I don't think I've ever heard anything about him since then, when he went flying into the sideline.
Yeah, but glad he's on the Ravens now.
No, but that's the running back position. It's like I said, it's a tough one to evaluate, just because like Doc has mentioned, and you, Luke, it's a different era now. The running back isn't a one-man backfield for the most part. They're obviously like Derrick Henry and Christian McCaffrey still that do it, but the other guys they're still doing good. Like you said, the Rams drafted a running back. I mean, the Panthers brought in a running back after they signed Miles Sanders. Didn't work out. I mean, it just happens that way. So. But let's move on to probably the most exciting position, because now we're going to talk which guys should go before the other ones. Like this is the position. Is it Tyreek Hill, CeeDee Lamb, or Jamar Chase, or Justin Jefferson? This is the wide receiver position. So obviously, McCaffrey's McCaffrey. We know who's going one. Who should be? Let's start us off hot. Who should be the first wide receiver taken in a PPR fantasy football league? And mind you, last year in the season, Lamb was 1. Number 2 was Tyreek Hill. 3 was St. Brown. So who should be the first receiver in 2024?
I think there's no doubt. Chase is definitely in the conversation, but I think you got to go Tyreek Hill. I mean, the speed, the explosiveness can still get down the field. I think you've got enough of a proven quarterback. I want to say Justin Jefferson. My problem right now is we don't know the quarterback situation in Minnesota. Justin Jefferson would probably be my number 1. If it wasn't for that, but I think knowing what you got, I think Tyreek Hill goes number 1 for receiver.
Luke, I'm going CeeDee Lamb. I think back-to-back years. I think the thing with Miami, Tyreek Hill's a stud, but there's more weapons there for two to throw to. When you look at Dallas, it literally is Jake Ferguson and CeeDee Lamb. The running back group's not that good. I mean, who else are you going to throw to? Brandon Cooks, who's an average receiver nowadays. I mean, Jalen Tolbert. I mean, I'm looking at CeeDee Lamb. He's going to be on the field, but CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, Dak's most likely to be playing on a contract year. So, I mean, he's going to have to throw the ball, prove himself to another team. It's kind of the way it's looking right now. Jerry Jones says he can't afford everybody. So,
I mean, Tua's on a contract year as well. I mean, depends on how that situation works. But there's so much talent in Miami.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Hill's kind of wants another contract too. I mean, neither are wrong options. I mean, if you go Tyreek Hill at number 2, I'm not complaining. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say you're a dummy. Like, there's no way I'm not going to say that. It's just I think that there's so much more. I mean, I'm telling you, St. Brown, another option too. He could sneak into that number 1 spot.
Yeah, they got a lot of mouths to feed in Detroit too, though.
They do.
I saw what Jameson Williams is looking really good in training camp too. So hopefully he's good this season because I have him in Dynasty, just and holding on to him.
And if Joe Burrow is healthy, I mean, yeah, I kind of get it. Chris said, got to go Quentin Johnson, receiver 1 in PPR.
He may not make it.
Yeah, I think he's like the receiver 4 or 5 now.
Yeah, he's wide receiver 4 on the wide receiver core.
I'll tease it now. We're gonna kind of maybe do like we did earlier, like guys to stay away from, maybe some sleeper or sneaky guys. I'm looking at Lab McConkey kind of like in the 7th round, 8th round as well. But when it comes to these receivers,
maybe a little bit earlier, he's probably gonna be wide receiver 1 with Herbert. Yeah. And Herbert, can fucking sling the ball.
I do think though, a guy like Garrett Wilson can be like he could go receiver 1 if Rodgers stays healthy. I mean, shit, Garrett Wilson was number.
I can tell right now he will not be wide receiver 1 in our league.
No. I'm saying like when it's all said and done. But like when it comes to who you should draft first, yeah, it's either CeeDee Lamb or Tyreek Hill. I mean, it honestly is.
Or Justin Jefferson.
Darnold and him had a good pass today to each other.
I saw it today. I mean, he's making me think about it. CeeDee Lamb's not practicing. Jefferson's practicing. So
I think that if you're a great receiver, you're going to be fine when it comes to fantasy football. I mean, Devontae Adams has done it for years. Hopkins did it for years. I mean, just the way it works. You're great. You're still going to get the ball to you.
If I draft Jefferson, I don't have to change my fantasy name, so that makes it easy.
I mean, it's true. And you had Jefferson the last 2 seasons, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, you just reprint the same one from last year and just put it back on the belt.
Damn, yeah, you had Jefferson. You had Jefferson 2022 and 2023.
Yeah, I'll go for the 3P with them.
Are there any receivers that are like first round potential guys like like AJ Brown, Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams? Are any of those guys worth waiting to the 2nd round?
I'd probably wait for the 2nd round on all of them. I'd grab one of those tier 1 running backs over those guys, I think.
Well, in this situation, I'm talking like if your picks like 7 through 12, not like 1 through 6. Obviously, like if you're in the back half of the draft, would you?
With the assumption the top 4 wide receivers have been gone and CMC, I'd probably grab one of those running backs. I think that haven't been picked yet, like Breece Hall or Bijan over them.
So you're saying
that fall off is going to be so steep if you pass up on them. But for it to come back around to you in the draft, you're going to have nobody pick up running back.
So pretty much you're saying that pick 7 because you have Lamb, Hill, Jefferson, St. Brown, and Chase, right? Those are your top 5, maybe?
I think by around pick 6, it's one running back's been drafted by pick 6. I would start looking at the running back 2. Now, if somebody grabs a couple running backs before that, then you grab one of these other wide receivers. But somebody's going to be available for you around picks 7 and 8. You just don't know who's going to be there.
What are you thinking there, Doc? With like any of these receivers, like kind of like Luke, we're saying pick 6 to 12, that you would maybe take a chance on, hopefully falls to you in the 2nd round?
I mean, 6 to 12, 2nd round. There's definitely receivers that I'm looking at. We got the known that's not going to be available. But I think that you start getting into the guys that's worth taking a chance. You got 2 in Philly. One of them is definitely worth taking in the 2nd round. With Puka and Cooper Kupp, one of them is going to fall to the 2nd round. There's definitely Olave is another great 2nd round pick. Definitely guys that I'm looking late 1st round into 2nd. I mean, receivers are deep and they're only getting deeper.
Marvin Harrison Jr. would be a good one to take a risk on.
I was going to ask you that.
Rookie,
that was
rookie, but he's the only guy there. Really.
I don't know if I do that one until 3rd round, but
so right now, be there in the 3rd round.
No. Yeah, he's going early, Doc. So I'm like, honestly, the mocks that I've been seeing, and it's going to be kind of close still. Harrison right now is the 15th ranked player in Sleeper, which Sleeper and ESPN are kind of similar. So he's supposed to be early 2nd to mid 2nd round pick. That's the question, though, is when would you take a chance on Harrison? Would you take it now if you go running back first, would you take a chance at Marvin Harrison as receiver 1 on your team?
Yeah, depending on who's available. If he's there,
let's say
that's where I think it comes down to what's available. If I got a chance to get somebody proven, that I know is going to do, lights out and get me what I need, I'm going to take Proven over a chance because we don't know what Kyler Murray is going to show up. We don't know if Marvin Harrison's even going to make it. We've seen plenty of people make it to this league and fail.
Yeah, because Doc's the fifth. I'd probably draft Mike Evans or Chris Olave over him.
Because that's the thing, Doc. You're the fifth pick, right, in the second round. And let's say for some reason you decide to go a running back in the first round, right, in the eighth pick. And now you come up to the board and, you come up there and the receivers that are available now are Marvin Harrison, the guy that I was going to ask you about. Do you see an emergence with Drake London? So Drake London, Brandon Ayuk, Chris Olave are available. Which one would you go? Would you pass on Marvin Harrison, or would you take one of these other three guys?
I think I'm going to Proven like Olave over Marvin. I honestly, it's a game time decision.
Tough, yeah.
It is probably one of the tougher decisions to make. I can't speak to it, exactly what I would do. And a lot of it, like you said, a lot of it is driven by what's on the team. If I went running back first, I'm a little more desperate to get that wide receiver, right? But if I went wide receiver first, if I went Jamar Chase, let's say with that eighth pick, I may not be looking so heavy on that wide receiver. So I don't know. Second round, I think is tough for Marvin Harrison. I think he's going to be great, but what's working in his favor, he's going to be the easy number one on that team, the easy wide receiver one. But, it depends on what's available. You never know. I mean, it's obviously not going to happen, but you probably got some leagues where you got a bunch of people that do their fantasy football and don't know shit about it. And, Justin Jefferson might fall because, looking at preseason and training camp and what the quarterback game's looking like.
Jefferson could fall because you have to take that chance of Sam Darnold and JJ throwing to him with guys like him. Because AJ Brown, when you mentioned AJ Brown's still a solid option. He's still a top 7-8 receiver every year in fantasy. So he's consistent. Another rookie receiver in the top 40. There's 2 rookie receivers in the top 40. Malik Neighbors is projected at 38. So would you take a chance on Malik Neighbors as your slot guy or your flex guy or even receiver 2 if you go running back heavy or quarterback or tight end early? Would you take a chance on Malik Neighbors with that receiver 2 option?
Yeah, as my receiver 2, I would not wide receiver.
Oh 1. Yeah, if you have a receiver in the third round or fourth round, you have problems. You have problems.
I'm not going to trust. Very very little faith in Danny Dimes. So I know it's Chris's QB. I don't trust him.
Chris's man crush.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the second round option. Now that if Kirk Cousins is healthy, does Drake London have a kind of like emergence type of year? Not saying he's going to be like a top 5 receiver, but can he sneak into that top 10 range where he's projected to be around? Like honestly, could you see it? He said
wide receiver or top 10 pick?
Top 10. No. Well, saying if you decide to go running back early, go get Drake London as your receiver 1 now because you went running back in the first round, in the middle, like me and Doc are at. Would you take a chance at Drake London at number 1, in the middle of the second round as your receiver 1 option?
You got to bet on Kirk being healthy all season.
Because I'm looking at what he did last year. So last year he was my history here. So yeah, last year he was 37th and 30. He was 31 and 37th. What was that?
And you guys are using Pitts as a wide receiver too, so.
Well, we have Rondale Moore. So Falcons have Rondale Moore, Darnell Mooney, Kyle Pitts, Drake London. I'm high on Pitts and London just because they're both the option 1 at their position group. I think Kyle Pitts is solid. I still think he's a good tight end. I think hasn't had a good quarterback, but like I said, we talked tight ends last episode. I think Drake London had some crazy plays with Desmond Ridder, Marcus Mariota, and Taylor Heineke. And I think if Cousins is healthy, that's like you said, you got to take a chance on Kirk Cousins being healthy.
Here's the thing about Cousins. Cousins being healthy, I don't think is as big of a concern as it's being made out to be. The one consistent from Cousins is you're going to get yards, you're going to get touchdowns, you're going to get offense. And pairing that with Bijan, this offense can do no wrong. His problem in Minnesota was the defense holding their own and keeping the game close. And I think you guys have the defense to actually make Kirk Cousins look like the quarterback he's meant to be.
This is fantasy purposes, just fantasy.
You're going to get points. You're going to get points from Cousins.
So would you take a chance at Drake London, Doc, as your receiver 1 if you go running back and pick 8? Is he? I'm not saying
I'll take him receiver 2.
Well, then you need to go receiver because I mean he ain't going to the third round. See where you're at.
And that may be the thing, but it's tough to gauge him because y'all have had shit quarterbacks in Atlanta. But I would like to think with Kirk Cousins it's gonna boost his stock, but I don't know that he's first, second round material yet.
I would look in the second round, like towards like you
maybe back end second round.
Yeah, like I'm looking picks like 20 to 24. I can see Drake. I wouldn't mind if Drake London snuck there. I think Chris might sniff him out if he falls to pick 24. If Luke decides to pass on him somehow. I mean, if whatever you decide to do.
Yeah, I mean, my second pick is all dependent on what you guys pick. It's very tough to plan out my second and third picks.
How do you guys feel about maybe like some of these middle receivers or any guys that you kind of like catching your eye that you might take a chance on, maybe like around early? Like I think George Pickens is I like Pickens. I think he's getting the ball more and more every single year, and this is probably the best QB he's had, to be honest. I mean, Fields is way better, or Russell's way better than Kenny Pickett's ever been.
Yeah, I mean, I would also look at Zay Flowers or Calvin Ridley too. Nice
God, I like Zay Flowers so much. I want him to be so good. It just won't happen in Baltimore.
I think
when Baltimore came out,
he was getting better like throughout the season.
Harbaugh came out. John Harbaugh came out talking about Rashad Bateman's going to be one of the top receivers in the league.
Yeah, I mean, if he stays healthy, he could be.
He also said Lamar.
What are we doing with Zay Flowers then?
Hey, John is saying the right things because he also said that Lamar's going to be the best quarterback when it's all said and done too. He's defending his guys. That's what he does.
He said that's the vision. He's going to be.
But that's right. Like you would expect that from a coach is going to say that to all his players.
Yeah, I think to your point though, Mark, that guy that you said third round,
T. Higgins,
chance in the second.
Well, like if going in the third or fourth round, like in the third round, if you see a guy that maybe fourth round potential, like kind of like a T. Higgins, George Pickens, Amari Cooper Kupp, like are those kind of guys like that. Like I think T. Higgins, he's in a contract year. I mean, if he's healthy, T. Higgins is a guy I want my receiver too.
I think the two biggest that I'm looking at as potential is going to be, I think, Calvin Ridley and Jordan Addison, because I think they're both phenomenal receivers, but you're looking at the quarterback situation. Another one that comes to mind, along with Malik Neighbors, maybe I think maybe like a fourth going into a third from Malik just because of Danny Dimes. But another one I'm looking at maybe is Roma Dunza. Keenan Allen had some injury issues last year, and if he goes down again this year, it's gonna give him a chance to slide up and make his name.
Because Dunze right now,
Cooper here pretty low too.
Cooper's 57 right now on Sleeper.
That's a shame. That is a travesty.
So Addison.
Wait, 57? No, he's not. On what? On projected? Are you talking about projected?
Yeah. Out of overall, like out of everyone. So then,
out of overall, because he was 22 in receiving last year, but he had a couple of really good games. That was about it.
Dunze 68, which is a third option for Chicago. Addison
was hit or miss for Cooper.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Big misses with Sean Watson.
When he had somebody that could throw to him.
Flacco.
Yeah, when he had somebody that could throw to him, he actually caught balls.
I think he set a record with Flacco as quarterback, didn't he?
He did. It was like 250 plus yards or something. He set a franchise record. I think
like 3 touchdowns in one game.
Or 290 yards. I don't remember. He did something fucking. He had over 50 points in a game. And of course, it was the week I was playing him. Naturally, everybody has their greatest week in the NFL when I'm playing against him in fantasy.
They're projecting Ladd McConkey to go in the 8th round. Like that's on his projections. So like that's a guy I'm looking in the 6th round. I'm looking 2 rounds early so that no one can get him in the 7th, depending on because the 7th, I'm later in the draft. I'm in the middle anyway, so it's my farthest amount of picks in between. So I would rather go get Ladd in the 6th round if everything's working out for me and I can go take a chance on him. So it's guys like that. Like you might have to go get 2 rounds early. Like Calvin Ridley, same thing. He's projected to be in the 8th round. Same with Hopkins. So how high would you go 6th round for those guys? Maybe.
And I don't.
Because no one's going to scroll down and look at like, oh shit, Nick Chubb's in the 90s. Let me go get him at pick. Like for example, like Nick Chubb's. We know he's one of the best backs, but we're not going to go get him at pick 20.
No, I will.
You're going and 20. So you're going to pick 20, and you're going to go waste that when you can get him in the 5th round.
Because how do I know it's going to go to the 5th round? Somebody else could be thinking the same as me. That's what drafting is all about.
Not many
You're,
people.
you're
go
gonna have to
dig
reach on
down,
some
though.
people. Sometimes you gotta
Reaching is 5-6
Chubb,
rounds ahead is different than one round.
Talking Nick
2 rounds.
Chubb to the 5th, 6th round is an absolute travesty. I mean, I
Coming
gotta
off injury.
look at some more.
Oxton's the same way.
Plenty of people come off injury and ball out. Dalvin Cook did it.
I mean, you're talking
Dalvin
about
Cook came off the same injury and
you're
dominated
concerned-
the league the next year.
you're
Or not
concerned-
Dalvin Cook, Peterson. I'm sorry.
You're
Adrian
concerned about Brees Hall 2 years after an ACL, but you're not concerned about Nick Chubb literally 1 year later. You
No,
guys
Nick Chubb's
mentioned
tougher. Nick Chubb's tougher,
Yeah,
and he's
he's
proven that he can
tougher.
come back. No, and he's proven he can come back from it. He did it before.
he's tougher. ETN came back.
You think You think Brees Hall's tougher than Nick Chubb?
He's been in the league 2 seasons and he's fucking balled out. Brees Hall or Garrett. Brees Hall was probably going to win Rookie of the Year over Garrett Wilson.
Oh no, but he was tougher. He was tougher. Why didn't he
got hurt in the
stay
middle
in
of
and
the
win
season.
Rookie of the Year? He was tougher.
He got hurt in the middle of the season.
But if he
came
was
back
tougher,
the
he should have
next
stayed in the league and won Rookie of the Year. Come
year. Why
on.
Nick Chubb win Rookie of the Year? Oh, he couldn't start.
fucking-
Oh,
I
that's right. He
don't
just couldn't start round. He just couldn't start week 1. That's the problem. So you also had concerns about Travis Etienne. He got hurt fucking 3 seasons ago.
When did I say I had
Rookie season.
concerns about Travis Etienne?
You said he got injury history. You mentioned
I
that.
did. Did I? Today? Not today. I definitely didn't mention it today.
I mean, all these guys have injury history.
I may
CMC's
mention-
got
yeah,
injury
everybody's got
history.
injuries.
We ain't
CMC had a solid 3 years of being hurt.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't know if I'm reaching 7 rounds on Nick Chubb early. There's no way I'm looking
If
at Nick Chubb
they're-
in the second.
My point. Okay, I get it, and I agree with you to a point. But if there is a guy, if there is a running back, and we talk about taking a chance and reaching, if there is a guy, Nick Chubb is the one I'm putting all the chips on over any other running back that is projected to go 7th, 8th round. Because Nick Chubb, either you're going to have an injury problem and you're fucked. But with any other guy just taking a reach on like that, he just may not perform or may not get touches. But Nick Chubb, I think the potential for him to explode and be the Nick Chubb that we know he is, that he can be, is far higher than him being strained by the injury.
Hasn't Nick Chubb had this injury a couple times in his
Once in Georgia. Yeah. I think his junior or senior year. That's why I was saying he came back from it. He's shown he can do it. He's a tough guy.
But when it comes to the receivers, I mean, Brees Hall came back from last year, and he was number 3. You said number 2 last year in fantasy, just behind Christian McCaffrey, just behind him.
I don't even remember saying that I had a worry about Brees Hall. I think last year I did.
It was
I think
this episode.
last season I did.
It was this episode. We literally said it when we started the show. We
I-
mentioned
I-
Brees
I
Hall's
said it.
injury, and then
I
you
said
pick
I was gonna-
you signed it off on it. You said, yeah, you mentioned the injury.
Well, yeah, it's something to be concerned about. And I say the same for Nick Chubb. It's something to be concerned about. But if
2
I'm going to
seasons
take
ago
a
is
reach,
different.
Oh, I'm also not
I'm-
picking Nick Chubb in the first round.
no, not in
Oh,
the
yeah.
first round. But I'm not going
Brees
Nick
Hall's
Chubb in
probably
the
gonna
first
go
round.
first round.
But when you're
When I'm
talking Nick
talking-
Chubb going 5 or 6,
But Brees Hall's 2
I'm
years
willing
ago.
to gamble 3rd, maybe 2nd.
Like that's what I'm saying. Like these injury problems, like it's a big deal the year following, not 2 seasons following, because now your legs are truly under you. Like if Brees Hall didn't have any hiccups last year, I'm not worried about Brees Hall two seasons removed. Like fucking what is it, 18 months removed, whatever. That's when he has his surgery. I mean, but when it comes to these receivers, though, when I'm saying reaching, I'm talking like maybe 2 rounds early. Like Calvin Ridley, Hopkins, I'm looking maybe 7th round, honestly. Maybe 6 as well. Maybe you go a few rounds early, 2.5 rounds earlier than they're expected to go. I think Hopkins is still going to be the better option in Tennessee. That's my opinion. I think Hopkins is the wide receiver 1. I think he's going to be option 1 for Will Levis. I just truly
Will
think
Levis-
that he's still better than Calvin Ridley.
Well,
I don't know. I
Levis does have that hose
wasn't.
on
I
him.
wasn't real impressed with Hopkins last year.
I mean, you should go look what he did.
Well, he had a couple
Hey.
moments.
They also had a terrible offensive line, and Will Levis was just getting murdered.
It wasn't just Will Levis he played with, neither. Forget
Yeah.
that one.
Well, Will Levis was
Ridley was-
coming.
Ridley was wide receiver 18 last year with a better quarterback, and Hopkins was 22 with a horrible
I'm
Titans
saying
team.
the Titans are going to be my sneaky team. I'm just saying it.
Oh yeah, and I think, and I mean, I like Ridley. I think he's a solid. I would say go as in he's my flex. I don't know if I want his running back 2 or wide receiver 2. I mean, Hopkins put up 75 catches for 1,007 TDs. That's pretty solid for a mixture of what 3 quarterbacks? Maybe 4 quarterbacks he played with last year?
I don't know. When you talk about I got to go back and look at Ridley. When you talk about a wide receiver 1 in DeAndre Hopkins, opened up 13-5, 8, 7, 8, 10. Good week number 5 against Indy, then 3. Huge game against Atlanta. I think that was the one. Yeah, the 3 touchdown game when
Williams debuted.
Willie Mayo came out and just fucking dropped dimes into his lap or into the pocket.
He just dropped his balls on fucking the Falcons.
Yeah,
He
but
did.
other than that, I mean,
That's when he earned the starting job.
Yeah, but wasn't Ridley in a better situation last year?
with last year's Trevor Lawrence, I don't know if I could say that. I want to
mean-
say it. He should have been. 100% he should have been.
Ridley dropped like 2 or 3 touchdowns. That could have shot him up maybe like receiver 15, 14.
That whole team, I'm convinced was not wearing gloves last year.
I'm safe to say if Hopkins is in Tennessee or Jacksonville last year, I believe he has a better season than Ridley fantasy wise and just the season wise. Honestly, I still think Hopkins is not.
You
Obviously
make a good point. Ridley did have a lot more single digit games. You make a good point there. But I don't think that's a Ridley thing though. I think that was a Trevor Lawrence thing because Trevor Lawrence was absolute dog shit last year.
So then, what was Hopkins' excuse for Tennessee? I mean, he had Malik Willis, Ryan Tannehill, Will Levis, and I don't even know if they had a 4th quarterback throwing the ball last year. It's possible they could have had 4
I think they
quarterbacks
had
last
5
year.
or 6 or 12 quarterbacks.
And he was
last
receiver
year,
22. If Will Levis is healthy and this O-line is supposed to be revamped, that could be good for either or. I mean, you could put either or receiver 3 or flex. I mean, if you're running
I think both are wide receiver 2s.
I think Pickens. Pickens. I'm telling you, he's slowly climbing fantasy. Like I mean, I would like him as a receiver 2 if it works out that way. If I go quarterback or tight end a little earlier than anticipated.
He wasn't the one that had the motivation issues last year, right?
For one game.
No.
Yeah,
No,
he
it
couldn't
Pickens.
block. It was the blocking
No,
issue he
it was,
had.
no, it wasn't Pickens. It was
No, it's DJ. That's who it was.
Deontay Johnson.
To do that.
Pickens had blocking issues too.
Well, there's a difference between blocking issues, and I remember the one play where the dude just flat out refused to block. I don't remember. I think it was
The
Deontay
effort
Johnson.
issues.
That was
the
Pickens
effort
as well.
That's a better way to put it.
No,
I said
it-
motivation, effort
No.
issues. Yeah.
Pickens was the same way last. It was both. It was
not
both.
nearly as bad. Not nearly as bad.
No.
They
Pickens
got rid of
Pickens was
Deontay Johnson because of that shit.
Pickens was walking.
They
Like,
did
he
the
was literally
same.
walking
They
to
did the same with
corner.
fucking what's his nuts from Chicago that they traded to Chicago. I don't even remember his name. He was so bad.
Oh, Claypool.
Yeah.
But
Chase
Claypool wasn't
Claydush.
and that's weird because Claypool wasn't a bad blocker in Pittsburgh. Like he actually.
No,
Yeah,
the
like-
blocker wasn't the problem. It was his attitude.
Yeah,
His
well,
attitude,
yeah.
his effort. It was
Mike-
the same shit. The same shit that
Mike-
Deontay Johnson was doing. That's why they got rid of that cancer too.
Mike Tomlin don't play unless you're really good.
Well, Mike Tomlin ain't gonna have nobody out there that can control the locker room and make it known that they control the locker room. Mike Tomlin does a very good job of making it look like he controls the locker room. And that's why he's kept that job. But
Unless you're
Well, I
AB,
mean-
then you can get away with anything. And
well, AB, that's a whole different story, bro.
hey, he kept him pretty tame up until the end.
He did. He definitely
Here,
did.
look.
And that's why he got. Yeah.
I hope you guys. I hope it. This was Pickens. He just stands there and lets the guy just go fucking hit his running back. I don't know if it's focused.
That's
or
not a blocking issue. That's an effort issue. That's the same. Yeah, it's the same shit we're talking about.
Well, but that's part of the blocking. I mean, if you don't have an effort, then you're not blocking at all. Like that.
No, but when I hear blocking issues, I think of a guy that's trying but just sucks at it. When you're that shit right there is not a blocking issue. That is a do your goddamn try issue. Is what
I'd rather have a guy that is attempting to block his hardest and he just gets beat sometimes than a guy that doesn't get any effort at all.
That's
Yeah.
why I'm saying that's not a blocking issue. What that play was right there. That ain't a blocking issue because he
Well,
didn't
Pickens
try.
issue.
Oh,
But as Pickens-
that offense had all kinds of issues, anyways.
The whole team got issues. Mike Tomlin's lost.
Are you guys
Defense-
high
Solid defense.
now?
Yeah.
When it comes to because me and Chris, we've done some mocks together, and I've kind of been thinking about it. Is Jaden Reed going to take a good step this year? Is he a solid wide receiver 2 that you're looking at? Would you take a chance on him somewhere, maybe like a round early from the Packers? Jordan Love seemed to love him last year.
I
when
could
he
see
was
it.
playing.
I could see it with what Jordan Love stepped up and accomplished last year. Obviously,
fine.
he's not going to do it again this year because he's dog shit. Bear down, but
He was
For
25th
taking
last year.
taking a chance on a guy, I think I take him as a wide receiver 3. I don't know about a wide receiver 2. I think there's way too many options in a 12-man league.
Now, one last.
Way too many options in 12-man league. You got multiple teams that have wide receiver 1 and 1 and 3. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's what I was
That
about to
you
ask
could-
you guys.
that you could take as a number one. So I think Jaden Reed, I think there's a lot of potential there, especially with Jordan Love, young guy. But, Love's also coming into his second year. The footage exists now. The film exists. People are watching it. They're seeing the movement. So we got to see how he adapts and, how teams start to build the pressure and adjust to his play style. And if he can hold up and continue to make the plays. If he can, I think Jaden Reed definitely makes a case for a number one next year. No doubt a number two, a possible number one.
Luke, you can start this one off. How worried now? Doc mentioned it. 3 wide receiver ones on one team. I'm not saying Aduze is a number one yet, but Keenan Allen and DJ Moore definitely are. And the Texans have 2 receiver ones with Nico Collins and Stephon, and then Tank Dell coming back.
Man.
How worried should guys be if you decide to go running back early in the middle first round? Would you take a chance on Stephon as receiver 1 or Nico Collins or DJ Moore? Would you wait on that?
I'd probably wait on them just to see how it falls. Just too many mouths to feed. I'd look at some of the teams that have just one solid wide receiver 1 and grab that guy if I can. Now, if wide receiver 1's taken from all the other teams, then yeah, I'd take a risk on Nico Collins or somebody like that, or Odunze or DJ Moore.
So I want those guys. But see, I want those guys as my receiver 2 on my team. Nothing more. I don't want them as if Stephon Diggs is my receiver 1.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, with the exception of DJ Moore, I think you can make him a wide receiver 1. I'd rather have Stephon Diggs receiver 1 than DJ Moore because I don't think Nico Collins is as good as Keenan Allen. That's the problem I'm risking there. Nico Collins has only had 1 good year. Is he going to be Nico Collins as he was last year? We don't know. We know what Keenan Allen and DJ Moore are, and I know and Stephon Diggs is receiver 1. I don't give a shit what Nico Collins did last year. Stephon Diggs is number 1 receiver on that team. I think there's a lot in play when you look at these situations, right? You talk about DJ Moore and you talk about Keenan Allen, and quite frankly, and this is where it's tough going into a draft. I don't think either of them are number 1 in my opinion, even alone on that team, because we don't know what Caleb Williams is. If I had to say, looking at a 1 and 2, I think Stephon Diggs and Nico Collins is a lot safer of an option because we know CJ Stroud's going to put up numbers. I would like to think that, Caleb Williams can't possibly fuck this up in Chicago with the cast he's got around him. But, we are talking about Chicago quarterbacks, and we've got a great history of them in case you're tuning in for the first time. So I think that there's a lot that depends on it, right? DJ Moore is a number 1 wide receiver. When they took Bryce Young, if he was still in Carolina, is he still a number 1 wide receiver pick for you? With Bryce Young?
I do, because he was the number 6 receiver last year with Justin Fields, Tyson Bagent, and whoever else fucking played quarterback for the Bears. He was number 6 last year. That's impressive. I mean, that really is impressive.
So I got to look at.
I would say that. Well, Adam Thielen, if you're talking about that, Thielen was number 17 last year, but he dipped off. His production fell off, and I will say that's strictly because of his age. I think his production fell off because he couldn't handle the workload.
You're talking about almost 100-point fantasy difference between Justin Fields and Bryce Young.
But Justin Fields' fantasy points is strictly because of rushing, that wasn't just his throwing ability. It was a lot of it was also rushing. I'm not comparing the quarterback's fantasy years. I'm comparing the quarterback that's throwing him the ball of just Fields and Young. I don't give a shit what they did in fantasy because that doesn't matter to DJ Moore. What matters to DJ Moore is just throwing him the ball. If DJ Moore could be number 6 with Justin Fields and Tyson Bagent, it wasn't just Justin Fields, it was also Bagent. He's number 6. I think if Adam Thielen's number 17 in Carolina, I think DJ Moore can do better than that.
So 300 less yards, roughly 300 less yards for Justin Fields, 5 more touchdowns, 1 less interception, in 3 less games.
But the production is still going to be there for DJ Moore because Bryce Young is going to target him as number 1 like they did Adam Thielen. That's the thing I'm talking about. Thielen was number 17, but for most of the year he was top 10. His production dipped off at the end of the year because his workload, I'm counting that as age. I really am. DJ Moore is still pretty young.
I'm not arguing he wouldn't have been successful in Carolina. I just don't think he would have put up the same numbers in Carolina because even in Chicago, it took DJ Moore a few games to get going. And the same thing would have happened in Carolina. And I think it would have taken a little bit longer because Bryce Young is just not good. I'm not DJ Moore for me as a wide receiver. Like I'm definitely not. I'm not even blinking an eye at him at first round, and
No,
quite
yeah, I'm not
possibly
even
not.
looking at second
Quite
round.
possibly not even
Yeah.
second round, depending on how the chips fall and who's available. I mean,
Third
we're
round for
talking.
me.
He could
DJ.
fall. He could fall mid to late third, and that's a big deal when you're talking about your wide receiver one. That's a big deal. That's
Well,
why
because
I'm.
you're-
That's why I'm saying
because
he's
you're
not wide
loaded.
receiver one. He's not
No, not in fantasy. No, fantasy. It's because you have Allen
on the
still,
team. Yeah, he would have been wide receiver one on the team. He'd have been fucking. I don't give it.
Yeah.
Adam Thielen ain't wide receiver. The dude's like 46 years old.
But if you have to pick, Luke, in my opinion, out of the three trios, if you got to go one of the receiver one options, I would rather go Stephon because I believe Diggs is the better.
Which trios? You said Chicago.
Well,
Houston and Chicago, because those are the two most
Oh,
loaded
okay.
receiving cores right now. That's what it seems
yeah,
like. They're the
I mean,
two most-
I'd probably pick any of them. I mean, you know what you're going to get with CJ Stroud throwing the ball.
That's
You
what.
don't know what you're gonna get with
That's
Caleb
literally what
Williams.
it comes down to. You're talking about
well,
a quarterback who came balled out last year, showed what he can do, versus a guy who's still. And honestly, Caleb Williams getting the same shit that CJ Stroud did last year. I mean, there was a lot of doubt in whether or not he was going to be able to make it, especially after footage started coming out of Bryce Young and what his quarterback class was looking like. But CJ Stroud proved everybody wrong. You know, he showed what he could do.
prove me right.
So, okay. All right.
I'll silence you, Stroud. OH, baby.
I know. I wasn't talking about you. I wasn't
And I'm
talking
high
about
on
you.
and I'm high on Caleb for the immediate few years because of the situation around him.
I need you to be higher on Caleb for the both of us, Mark, because I'm fucking struggling over here, my boy.
That's fine. I mean, Caleb is getting a lot of glowing
I'm
reviews
having a
right now in
hard
training
time.
camp. They made a crazy play today. Luke shared to us on Instagram. If you just go check it out, I know you're
That's
good for your
better
one
than the other
comment. You'll probably check it on Saturday or Sunday.
I'm at my quota today. I'm at my quota this
Yeah.
week.
Yeah, once you saw that a certain person did something, you decided to chime in a couple times. So that was a little early on your quota. I'm not gonna say the name
Yeah,
because it's
we'll-
not that type of show. So
We'll talk about it after. It
But,
sounds like a different topic.
no, I just think this is gonna be an electric fantasy year. Honestly, is it we're all in the lead together besides Allen, and if one person decides to back out, Allen is gonna join us. So we have 5 of the 6 of us in here, and it felt great doing 2 episodes again, boys. Because like I said, we're gonna be doing a couple episodes a week when football season starts. If you guys are ready for that,
I've been ready.
maybe a couple watch-alongs. If you guys were trying to recap,
I've been
some
ready
of the
since I've been ready since week 18. All right. The last full
No,
season, the last full week of the NFL.
I want you guys to start doing some homework too, because coming up in a few weeks, we're gonna do we're not gonna go like game by game for the bracket. We're gonna reveal our 12-man playoff bracket, and then we'll reveal our Final Four and champion, essentially for the college football playoffs. I want to do that. I want to see what we think is gonna happen, and see who we got going this year, winning it all.
Yeah, I don't
It's
know
gonna be
yet.
tough this year. This year's gonna be tough.
Picking 12.
We're just gonna pick the
You gotta
12
pick the
teams,
team.
but then we're just we're just gonna pick the 12-man, and then we will go to the Final Four. So like you fill out your own bracket. That's cool. Don't tell us who won between the 8 and the 9, and then the 3 or whoever. But when it comes all said and done, it's a bracket style. It's not reseeding. So the 1 will play the winner of 8 and 9. 2 will play the 5 and 11 and whatnot. So, but you can do it on your own, and then just say, hey, who's the Final Four? This is who's playing the championship, and this is who's winning. That's all we gotta say.
For the record, I agree with Chris wholeheartedly. Got to go Quentin Johnson, wide receiver 1. Because
Yeah,
he's
you're
going
talking
to
about-
fall out for the Chargers this year.
If you're building like the worst possible fantasy team, yeah, he's your receiver 1. I will give him. I think that's what Chris meant. I think that's what he truly meant.
Watch it, dude, because I'm holding out on one more year for him.
Well,
In
maybe
Dynasty, all right, I'm getting him one more year.
maybe Harbaugh remember the last time Michigan lost to a game in college football, they lost to TCU, and Quentin Johnston was part of that TCU team. So maybe he gets that career going for Quentin Johnston.
Or maybe
Maybe he's like, finally, I
Or
got what I needed.
There you go, Luke.
Maybe he
gets
was.
off the team.
He said, "I'm gonna burn him down to the ground, dude. He ain't fucking touching the
Bench.
field."
Fucking embarrassed him one year.
Special teams.
He's gonna put him. He's gonna put him down on the bottom of the screen with like that Jay Cutler. When they put Jay Cutler down there and everybody memed it, just holding the sticker. It's gonna be Quentin Johnson all year long. They're gonna have Quentin Johnson like punt block.
Chargers could have had Zay Flowers, Jackson Smith, Najigba, and could have had Jordan Addison. So he was the first receiver taken. Now those are the next 3 guys that went in the first round.
It's tough. But that's what
It's a
I'm
shame.
saying could happen with Marvin Harrison. I don't think it will, but
And next week we're gonna take off, and I think the following week I want to do one last fantasy episode. I want to do rookies, just strictly rookie guys. What we think about their fantasy for redraft value this year. So guys like Xavier Worthy, who we didn't mention. So like give the rookies some shine. Guys like Donnie Mitchell, guys like Keon Coleman, guys that we didn't talk about like that
Keon
are
Coleman's
gonna have.
be a stud.
But that's what I'm saying. Guys that are gonna have impact on the team. We didn't mention tonight. I want to talk about them next.
Keon Coleman, early wide receiver 1 in Buffalo.
Xavier Legette as well. He's an option out there we didn't talk about.
Love it.
And he gave weather report today, by the way.
I saw his weather report.
I was very close to training with the Panthers today, but I was not one of the 10 guys that got selected. I was a little butthurt last week when they dropped the names.
hey,
Had a
your
chance to go meet-
stock is only that much higher because of it.
Oh, I wanted to meet them. It would have been cool to meet the players. I mean, I'm not a fan of Panthers, but it'd been cool to see some
Dude,
rookies that I like.
Rice would have just like fumbled your handshake, dude. Don't even worry about it.
Rice. Who's Rice?
Bryce.
Oh, Bryce. No, I was more excited to meet
You would have put your hand out, and Bryce would have been like,
I was more excited to meet Jonathan Brooks, Xavier Legette, and Jatavion Sanders. I wanted to meet the rookies, and then Adam Thielen would have been cool to see too. But no, great episode, boys. Can't wait to be back here in less than 2 weeks. Doc, can't wait to see you tomorrow. Luke, we'll be in touch. We are every day. So I'm Mark Davis. That's Luke. That's Doc. This is All About the Balls podcast. Have a great night. We'll see you guys when we see you guys. Good night.